In the quiet village of Ikot Edet, surrounded by tall palm trees and red earth roads, there lived two sisters who never saw eye to eye. Their names were Ekaette and Iniobong. From the day they could talk, they argued. From the day they could walk, they fought. Nobody in the village understood why and what was making them fight constantly. They were all beautiful, as if it were about who was the most attractive. If it were about a man, they had no man in their lives. They were both daughters of Chief Okon, the village head. A kind man with a broad smile and deep voice, he loved both girls dearly. But no matter what he did, they never stopped fighting. He bought them the same clothes they would tear them. He gave them the same food none would eat if the other was watching. He begged, he shouted, he even took them to the shrine of the ancestors for peace, but still, the hatred remained. Ekaette, the elder sister, was tall and graceful. She spoke slowly but sharply, like the hiss of a snake. Iniobong, the younger one, was short and full of fire. Her eyes were always burning with something no one could understand. Even their mother, Mama Ike, gave up trying to bring peace between them. They are cursed, some villagers whispered. Maybe they are not real sisters, others said. But Chief Okon knew. They were born from the same womb, only 2 years apart. He had seen them as babies, sleeping in each other's arms. He had seen them laugh once, a long time ago, but something changed. Something no one spoke of. Days turned into weeks, but peace refused to enter Chief Okon's house. The two sisters, Ekaette and Iniobong, fought like fire and oil. They could not stay in the same room for more than a minute without hissing, shouting, or throwing something. If Ekaette was in the kitchen, Iniobong would refuse to eat. If Iniobong was at the stream, Ekaette would fetch her water from the well, even if it was dirty. The maidens always gossip among themselves. What could sisters fight like this? The other one replied, maybe it's because of a man they fall in love with. But their fight continues without anyone knowing the cause. If one laughed, the other frowned. If one succeeded, the other burned with silent rage. They were like mirrors that refused to reflect each other. They fought in the market square, for reasons no one knew. Mama Ino was passing by. She tried to find out what the problem was, but the girls hissed and walked away. The other elderly woman at the market square passed and hissed, please allow them to pie themselves. They keep fighting every day for reasons best known to them. One evening, Chief Okon gathered them again under the mango tree in the compound. The moon had barely risen, and birds were just beginning to sing. My daughters, he said, must I die before you two find peace? Ekaette crossed her arms. Iniobong rolled her eyes. Chief Okon sighed. I am tired. Your mother is tired. Even the house groans at night from your quarrels. But the sisters said nothing. The silence between them was louder than any fight. They all went to bed without saying a word. Their parents also went to sleep confused and tired. One day, an old woman named Sidibi, who lived by the edge of the forest, came to their compound with a strange message. I saw them in my dream, she said. The spirits are not happy. One sister is hiding something. The other is running from it. Chief Okon shook his head. What are they hiding from each other? They were just children when the hatred began. The old woman smiled, her teeth yellow like maize. Then it began long before they were born. Suddenly, thunder roared in the sky. The wind shook the trees, and a bird flew into the palace, dropping a black feather between the two sisters. Ekaette looked at the feather. Iniobong looked at Ekaette. And for the first time in years, they said the same thing at the same time. You remember, don't you? The wind that carried the black feather grew stronger, swirling dust around Chief Okon's compound. The trees outside groaned as if they had secrets too heavy to bear. Birds flew in circles, confused and restless. Chief Okon stood between his daughters, watching them carefully. You remember what? He asked. But Ekaette turned her face away. Iniobong clenched her fist and walked out without a word. That night, the sky refused to rest. Thunder cracked like a whip, and rain began to fall, not in drops, but in heavy sheets as if the heavens themselves were angry. In the girls' separate rooms, candles flickered wildly. Shadows danced on the walls. And in the dark, both sisters whispered the same words to themselves. She will never tell the truth. The next morning, the village was buzzing. A goat had been found tied upside down at the village square, its eyes wide open, its body cold. No one claimed it. Beside it lay a small clay pot, broken into two, with ashes inside. The oldest elder, Etinimfon, called it a sign of deep secrets and unfinished rituals. The ancestors are waking, he said with a shaking voice. That same day, Chief Okon gathered the family for a meeting in the courtyard. He had invited the village seer, Edora, a blind woman who saw more than anyone with eyes. Edora arrived in silence, walking with a wooden staff carved with ancient markings. Her eyes were covered with a red cloth, but she stopped right in front of Ekaette and Iniobong. She lifted her face to the sky and whispered, "They carry the same blood, but their spirits are fighting. The ground beneath their feet is cracking. One day soon, something buried will rise." Ekaette's lips trembled. Iniobong looked away. Chief Okon asked, "What must we do?" Edora didn't answer. She simply dropped a small stone between the girls. It was smooth and black, but a red line ran through it like a crack. "When this stone breaks," she said, "the truth will come, whether they want it or not." Then she walked away. That night, Ekaette had a dream. She was in a dark forest. Trees whispered her name. She saw a small hut with no door, only smoke rising from it. Inside, she heard crying soft, broken, and familiar. The next morning, Iniobong woke up screaming. Her hands were covered in dirt. Her fingernails had mud under them. But her windows were closed. Her door was locked from the inside. "What is happening to us?" she whispered, staring at her reflection in the mirror. That same morning, as the village prepared for the New Yam festival, the sisters clashed again. Iniobong had plucked flowers to decorate the family shrine. Ekaette, without saying a word, removed them and threw them into the bush. Iniobong screamed, "Why do you hate me so much?" Ekaette hissed. "You started it. You always started it." They pulled each other's hair, tore each other's wrappers. Villagers gathered at the compound, shaking their heads in shame. Chief Okon rushed out, his voice breaking as he shouted, "Enough." He pushed himself between them, his heart pounding like a drum. "You will quiet each other before this thing ends." Their mother stood in the doorway, her face pale. "Let's take them to Pastor Ayo," she whispered. "Or to the shrine. Or anywhere. This is no longer ordinary." But neither shrine nor church could stop what was brewing. That night, as rain pattered gently on the zinc roof, Chief Okon sat alone, staring at the black stone the seer Edora had dropped. It still lay unbroken, silent but dangerous. He picked it up and whispered to it like a man losing hope. "Whatever this is, whatever cursed my daughters, please leave my house." At that moment, lightning lit up the sky. And from Ekaette's room, a scream tore through the night. Iniobong came running out too, shouting, "She tried to stab me." Ekaette followed, holding a broken mirror shard in her hand, her eyes wide and wild. Chief Okon fell to his knees. "My daughters, you will destroy this home." The next morning, a strange mark appeared on the front door of the compound, 3 red dots in a triangle. No one could explain it. No one dared to touch it. And the black stone. It had begun to crack. The strange red mark on the palace door refused to fade. Day after day, it grew darker, like it was feeding on the tension in the house. Chief Okon was no longer the strong, proud man the village knew. His eyes were always tired, his voice faint like a whisper carried by the wind. And the sisters? Their hatred only deepened. They no longer fought in secret. They insulted each other in the open. At the stream, in the market, even at the village square during meetings. Children started calling them Ekwim Enti Afong Fire and Fire. But the black stone told its own story. Each day, a new crack appeared. Until one night, under a full moon, the stone shattered into pieces with a loud pop. No one touched it. No one saw it fall. But the noise echoed through the compound like thunder. That same night, the village seer, Edora, returned. She stood in the compound, her red cloth still tied over her eyes, her staff beating the ground 3 times. "It is time," she said. Chief Okon gathered his daughters again under the mango tree. Villagers came too, uninvited, curious. The air was heavy, the moonlight sharp. Edora raised her head to the sky. "No spirit speaks unless it is called," she said. "But the spirits in this house have been screaming for years." She turned to Ekaette. "Speak." Ekaette opened her mouth, then closed it. Her lips quivered. Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean to," she whispered. "I didn't mean for it to happen." Iniobong gasped. "So you remember?" "I never forgot." Ekaette shouted, standing to her feet. "You took what was mine. You always did." Iniobong stepped forward, her eyes blazing. "It was not yours. You were the one who told Mama I pushed her." Suddenly, the truth spilled out like a broken calabash. Years ago, when Ekaette was 10 and Iniobong was 8, something terrible had happened. Their mother, Mama Ike, had just given birth to a baby boy. For the first time, their father smiled more. He sang. He danced. He called the boy my heir. One afternoon, while Mama Ike was bathing the baby in the backyard, Ekaette and Iniobong began fighting over a necklace. It was simple plastic and blue, but both girls wanted it. Their quarrel grew louder. The baby began to cry. And in one moment of anger, Ekaette shoved Iniobong hard. Iniobong fell backward, knocking into the basin where Mama Ike had left the baby for a second. The baby slipped, hit his head, and fell silent. By the time Mama Ike returned, the boy was gone. No one could explain what had happened. Ekaette, out of fear, told her mother, Iniobong did it. From that day, Mama Ike never looked at Iniobong the same. She stopped plaiting her hair, stopped singing to her at night. Even Chief Okon began to treat her with coldness, not knowing why but trusting his elder daughter's words. Iniobong never spoke up. She thought if she stayed quiet, maybe things would go back to normal. But they never did. From that day, the hatred was born. And it grew. And it burned. Like a wound covered with lace. Now, under the moonlight, the truth was finally out. Chief Okon sank to the ground. He stared at his daughters, broken. So all these years because of one lie. Ekaette was crying now. I was just a child. I didn't know she would carry it forever. Iniobong turned her face, tears on her cheeks. I carried it because no one believed me. Because I lost everything. Silence fell. Even the wind stood still. Then Edora raised her staff and struck the ground once. The ancestors have heard. The earth has opened. Now healing can begin. That night, the mark on the door disappeared. The shadows in the house lifted. For the first time in years, Ekaette and Iniobong sat under the same roof without saying a word, but this time, it was not war. It was pain. And the beginning of peace. It would take time. Wounds do not heal in one night. But in the heart of Ikot Edet, something had changed. The bitter sisters were no longer bitter. They were simply sisters.